Good morning. Happy Monday, everyone. All right. I gotta go grab the link, put it in all the places. Um, how's everyone doing this morning? How's everyone's Monday going? All right. It's a little cloudy today. I was able to go outside a little bit already, and it's a little cold out there, man. Definitely looking a little cloudy today. So maybe spending a little bit more time inside today. Hey, Jacqueline. Good morning, Mrs. Garcia. Hey, Danielle. It's also funny. I went to the Be the Light on Friday, and man, it was so wonderful seeing everyone. But man, that was a lot of yelling in a very short period of time. And man, I really got quite the sore throat after that. I think a lot of us did. I think a lot of people lost their voices. So I guess that is what it is. Who all was there? Some of you, it was hard to see you through your little cars. Hey, Marissa. Yeah, some of you I could see pretty clearly. Marissa, we saw you, but not everyone was easy to spot through like your car windows. It was awesome getting to see those of you that we could see, though, and it was really fun getting to see my teacher friends and just all the people. Great. It's fun to feel like things are slightly normal, even if it was just for half an hour. So what else did everyone do this weekend? Anything fun and exciting? My only other big exciting weekend activity was doing more yard work, which I guess is just a spring activity. When it is spring, you must do yard work. That and cleaning, I think, are sort of the two big spring must-dos. And goodness knows I've also been cleaning, so that sounds about right. All right, let's see. Danielle, the weekend was hard for you? Why? What happened? If you want to talk about it, I suppose. Marissa, you did do some string cleaning. Awesome. Good morning, Kunika. Yeah, I've had sort of a slow start this morning. I actually got on my computer sort of early. I've gotten a chance to start looking at some of the emails, but then I got distracted and ended up here almost late. Oh, that's right, Danielle. It would have been prom weekend. Yeah. Yeah, and that stinks. That part is hard. I think it's been really hard to think through all of this nonsense. And when those things happen or those dates pass when things should have happened, and then they don't. I think it's really hard. Yeah. Oh, that's such a bummer. Yeah, all of those things, right? Like I saw on Formal Friday, a bunch of people were posting their pictures in their would-be prom outfits, and Yeah, it's all just tough. What else happened this weekend? Anything fun? Any other hard dates that I forgot about? You did more painting around the house. Awesome. Did you do, like, painting paintings or, like, painting walls? Yeah, my big, date that passed, some of you knew this, a year ago yesterday, um, I fell and got a concussion, so this was the one-year anniversary of that, so I've been spending a lot of time thinking about that experience where, yeah, about this time last year, I was spending a lot of time at home, recovering, and it's sort of weird to be back, spending all of my time at home just for different reasons. Painting walls, we started in the living room and the kitchen. Awesome. What color are you switching from? Right? Like what was the old color? What's the new color? Sorry, I gotta grab my charger real quick. Oh, okay. Um, yeah. Concussion in the middle of a school year, I think, is probably good practice for pandemic where the whole world sort of changes at a moment's notice. Um, this one's just different because it's also changing for everyone else, not just for me. All right. So I'm hoping everyone has had an awesome weekend, even though I know that there's been some really hard stuff. Hey, good morning, Dad. All of our walls were white. Now they're going to be different shades of gray. Awesome. Oh, State Science Olympiad was going to be on Saturday. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's really hard when those dates come up. But hopefully we're finding some new things. It's the poem I'm going to share today, I think, gives us a feeling of that. Of course, I will be sharing a published poem, but I know my dad said that he was thinking about writing a poem for us to share on Good Morning Mustangs. So Dad, did he write me a poem? He wasn't gonna write me a poem. And if he was, it was not gonna be school appropriate. So I'll write the poem name here in the chat. It is called Leisure by W.H. Davies. And the thing I liked about this poem is right now, and you guys are bringing it up. It's so easy to be thinking about all of these things that we can't do right now because there are a lot of them, and they're really hard to deal with or to consider. And I love this poem because it talks about a thing that we can still do, a thing that is still absolutely available to us. And I just think that it's lovely. So this is Leisure by W.H. Davies. What is this life if full of care? We have no time to stand and stare. No time to stand beneath the boughs and stare as long as sheep or cows. No time to see when woods we pass, where squirrels hide their nuts in grass. No time to see in broad daylight, streams full of stars like skies at night. No time to turn at beauty's glance and watch her feet how they can dance. No time to wait till her mouth can enrich that smile her eyes began. A poor life this if, full of care, we have no time to stand and stare. So I love this idea that that life is nothing without this ability to just stand and stare. And that sort of, I think, as it says in the title, right, the leisure time, uh, and the time to just think, or to not think, to just stare into the middle distance and be, it is something that is a valuable part of life. I love thinking about right now because that is absolutely available to us, right? Whether we're staring outside into the sky, like the poet talks about, or just inside staring at a wall and having these moments to remember that we're not just productivity taskmasters. We're not always just moving towards newer and newer, better and better goals. That sitting, standing, and staring is really valuable. I just think that's such a fun message, especially for right now when it feels like so many things are being taken away. The idea that is not, that is still absolutely available to us. And it just reminded me, I was reading last night. I don't remember what, something random. And the person mentioned that one of their best tips for handling anxiety that they've been using a lot during pandemic is to literally ground your feet to the floor, right? And it's something I've heard a lot recently, especially from teachers. And this is totally an English teacher word, that's how I know it, is that the feeling that we're all feeling right now is this idea of being unmoored, which is technically a sailing term, but it's also a very English teachery word for just feeling lost, right? Feeling disconnected from things. And this idea of putting your feet on solid ground, that feeling of anxiety is often associated with this feeling of being unmoored, and being able to get yourself onto solid ground, to feel your feet literally grounded into the earth, especially when you can be standing, is a great tool for helping with anxiety. So I really like this poem that talks about this idea of standing and staring, and that can be so helpful and so affirming. So maybe that's something that we all try to do today. I know that I will. Get either outside or inside and just stand and stare. It's one of life's beautiful things. So there you go. So for today, I'm going to share a book talk. Today we're going to talk about 1984 by George Orwell. This is a classic book. If you like dystopian novels, like The Hunger Games or Divergent, books like that, this is a dystopian book. It is a more grown-up or adult dystopian, so it's not a young adult book. It's a full adult novel, but it is dystopian. So think Brave New World or Fahrenheit 451, Animal Farm. I guess Animal Farm's more a satire than a dystopia, but you get the point. So 1984 is sort of a classic dystopian book. The idea here is that truth in 1984 is non-existent. Their government decides what the truth is, and whatever they say is the truth. And that truth might change drastically and completely. A complete 180 from what they said was the truth last week is the truth this week, and everyone believes it. And there are all these sayings that they have, and all of these things that you're supposed to believe. the one that you will often hear, especially if you, they read this in 12th grade English. So especially if you pay attention to Mr. Shapsis in the halls as they're reading this book, you'll often hear the chant of 2 plus 2 equals 5. And it's a really interesting book. This is the book where this term Big Brother was popularized, because in the novel, they're constantly being watched by Big Brother. And it's something that there's an interesting argument to be made that we're sort of living in a 1984-esque society, especially with the Big Brother, the constant being watched feeling. But what's interesting in 1984, it's not just that they're being watched by the government, but they're being watched by everybody. The society, the people in the society, so they act as the government, right? They act for the government and watch over all of these citizens, right? They watch each other to ensure that nobody's doing the wrong thing, which I think is a really interesting idea. With the way that social media works, that we are not just all watching each other for how we fit in with these norms or laws, but we're presenting it to each other in specific ways. So I just think it's an interesting book to consider and think about in terms of a modern text. So I'll read the first couple of paragraphs. It was a bright, cold day in April, and the clocks were striking 13. Winston Smith, his chin nuzzled into his breast in an effort to escape the vile wind, slipped quickly through the glass doors of Victory Mansion, though not quickly enough to prevent a swirl of gritty dust from entering along with him. The hallway smelt of boiled cabbage and old rag mats. At one end of it, a colored poster, too large for indoor display, had been tacked to the wall. It depicted simply an enormous face, more than a meter wide, the face of a man about 45, with a heavy black mustache and ruggedly handsome features. Winston made for the stairs. It was no use trying the lift. Even at the best of times, it was seldom working, and at present the electric current was cut off during daylight hours. It was part of the economy drive in preparation for Hate Week. The flat was 7 flights up, and Winston, who was 39 and had varicose ulcer above his right ankle, went slowly, resting several times along the way. On each landing opposite the lift shaft, the poster for the enormous face gazed from the wall. It was one of those pictures which are so contrived that the eyes follow you about when you move. Big Brother is watching you, the caption beneath it ran. Inside the flat, a fruity voice was reading out a list of figures which had something to do with the production of pig iron. The voice came from an oblong metal plaque, like a dulled mirror, which formed part of the surface of the right-hand wall. Winston turned a switch, and that voice sank somewhat, though the words were still distinguishable. The instrument, the telescreen it was called, could be dimmed, but there was no way of shutting it off completely. He moved over to the window, a smallish, frail figure, the meagerness of his body merely emphasized by the blue overalls, which were the uniform of the party. His hair was very fair, his face naturally sanguine, his skin roughened by coarse soap and blunt razor blades, and the cold of the winter that had just ended. Outside, even through the shut window pane, the world looked cold. So, 1984 is a classic. It brings up some really interesting ideas. Hey, good morning, Gerald. And I will say it's a little slow, but if you're not looking for like that fast-paced, super fun-moving book and you're really just looking for something with some really interesting ideas, a book that's interesting to think about, 1984 is a great option. So that's what I have for today. What else do you have for me? What questions do you have? Comments, concerns, thoughts, ideas? An email, in terms of like class stuff, an email went out yesterday with the weekly plan and what's coming up this week. I still need to post that to Canvas. But yeah, it's another exciting week at school, but not at school. Seniors are sort of doing the same thing that we've been doing. Sophomores, we're finishing up poetry this week. We have another annotated bibliography, which is exciting. It's our last one of the school year. So yeah, I'm excited. I've been looking at all of the Poetry Madness bracket stuff, and like the first 4 rounds, everyone was like, these were massive landslides, like massive landslides, like 75% were voting for one poem, and that was like the closest it's been. There was one poem that it was like 96% of people all voted for one poem. They were crazy. But once we got into round 5, we finally had a close matchup. Right now it's almost 50-50. I think I was looking, it was like 45% for one, 55% for the other. So I think now that we've sort of weeded out clearly the poems that we didn't like as much, I think we're going to have some really interesting thoughts and conversations about it. So that'll be fun. We are skipping Unit 9 for lots of reasons. We'll talk about it in class today on Google Meet. So I can explain all of that. And we'll sort of look at what we have coming up this week. So yeah, it'll be good. All right. Any other questions, thoughts, concerns? Looks like I only have 34 emails for today. So there you go. That's doable. This is what my life is now. Answering lots of emails. All right. So I think I'm gonna head out for the day, let you get started with your day, with your schoolwork. I hope to see you all in class later today on Google Meet. And if not, I hope to see you all here again tomorrow. As always, I will be here bright and early, 8 a.m. To say good morning. So hope you all have a great rest of your day. I will see you later. Always remember who you are, what you represent, and to share your Mustang pride. Bye, y'all.